Today, we have with us Mr. Barry John, the eminent theatre personality. Although he needs no introduction, it is my privilege to say a few lines about him. Sir has, con- Sir has contributed greatly to the world of theatre. He has worked with Bangalore Amateur Dramatic Society, the Bangalore Little Theatre, and Yatrik. With much experience and passion, he has opened various acting teaching institutes such as the Freebirds Collective, the Barry John Acting Studio, the Theatre Action Group, and the Imago Acting School. He joined the National School of Drama as a teacher and later became the founder director of NSD's Theatre in Education Company. He has been conducting theatre workshops over the years and has been awarded the Sangeet Natak Akademi Award, the Sahitya Kala Parishad Award. His skills and talent have truly changed the face of the Indian theatre. We are highly grateful to have you today, sir. Now, I request Kuntal ma'am to say a few words.
Thank you, Lavisa. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Motilal Nehru College, Department of English, I welcome you to this program. Today is a happy day, not just for all of us in the literature departments, but for all the theatre enthusiasts who are present here. If you love to act, love to perform, or want to understand how it all comes together so beautifully on stage, then you are at the right place. We are privileged to have with us today the legend, the master, Mr. Barry John. A warm and hearty welcome to you, Barry.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Thank you. Before we begin the program, I would like to share a few pointers about the format that we will be following today. Barry will be answering questions about the craft of theatre, etc. in this program. Questions on celebrity film stars and how to get a break in films will not be entertained. So please do not ask those kinds of questions. You can write your questions in the chat and Lavisa will be moderating. She'll be hosting. The session is being recorded and is being live streamed on our English department Facebook and YouTube channels. And we are very happy to be conducting this in collaboration with the Freebirds Collective, which is a performing arts school in Mumbai that Barry is associated with. Thank you so much once again, Barry, for being here with us today. And let's begin. Over to you, Lavisa.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. Also, everyone kindly send in your questions in the chat box. We shall be taking them one by one. So, sir, shall we begin?
You're asking me? Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, so the first question for today is that many attendees here, we are very curious to know about your journey in the world of theatre. Could you please tell us about that?
Gosh, that's going to take up the whole hour. Just briefly, I've been acting since I was in primary school through my school career. So it was natural for me to want to be an actor. But as it happens, I was advised by someone in the English department in school at the point of leaving that I possibly wouldn't make it in a drama school in the UK in those days meant going to London. All the drama schools of any note were based in London. Similar to the fact of coming to Mumbai in the Indian context. So I was advised to become a teacher of drama. In that way, my career would be more secure and I would still be in touch with that which I enjoyed most. Not, of course, as an actor, but as a teacher. So that's what I did. I had an education in the teaching of drama, fortunately with one of the most prominent mentors in that whole area of theatre in education as it came to be known, whose name was John Hodgson. Yeah, so I began working in schools, but only for a year, because even in the UK, theater in the school context, drama, or drama as it was called, was a new subject, and most schools did not have space for it. Even the school that I went to for 1 year before coming to India, it was very tough for me. There was no respect. The teachers didn't understand what I was doing. They thought I was making too much noise, or rather encouraging the children to make too much noise and to have too many opinions. That they thought children, should be seen but not heard, as most teachers do. Shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. But that's the opposite of what I was encouraging in my drama classes. So I got very depressed during that year, and happily responded to an advertisement which was asking for teachers to come to India to work on a project, a voluntary service project. So that's what I did. And I did voluntary service for 2 years, training teachers in the teaching of English, in which drama was very important, actually. Before then getting an offer to come to Delhi to join a theatre group, which is what I did. And I have not looked back since then. I've never returned to the UK. My whole life and career has been in India, essentially in theatre, sometimes in film, though I've never enjoyed film work very much as an actor. It's a whole different ball game from theatre. Perhaps that question will come up. It usually does. Yeah, so that's it. That's my background.
It really has been one of a journey. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
So our next question we have from Dipendra Verma. Would you like to ask this question, Dipendra? Would you like to unmute yourself and ask?
Yeah, why not? Sure. Hello, good morning, everyone. Sir, my question is how to perform the play in fluent way.
How to perform the play in a fluent way. That's poetry.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
it's a matter of practice. And practice, you can never have enough rehearsal. I mean, often the plays that we see are not very good or not very convincing because they're undercooked. They've been brought to the stage far too soon, and they lack that fluency that you're talking about. It takes time. It takes time for a whole group of people to get to know a play, to get to know their characters, to know how those characters will interact in a meaningful way. And then all the choreography, the handling of props and costumes, and then developing a lighting design and working in sound and music. You know, it's not an easy job. It's a very difficult, complex job to put on a play. And I think many people do not give credit to that fact. And like I said, they're what's the word? When your baby is born before 9 months, it's
Premature.
Premature. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. Many productions are premature. They're not yet ready to be born in that sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that answer your question, Dipendra?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah? Welcome.
So next question is from Radhika. Radhika, would you like to ask this question?
Recording in progress.
Radhika, are you there? I'll ask this question then. She asks, what was the turning point in your career? How would you describe it?
A turning point. Oh, gosh. there's been no turning point. Like I said, I've known from a very young age that acting was something I enjoyed and thoroughly, even before I understood what it actually meant. Right from primary school, I've been acting in plays, and through school, then out of school also with various theater groups. So there was no turning point. It's been a straight line for me. Of course, it meant that I had violent arguments with my parents about spending or wasting so much time, as they would say, doing plays. And they thought I had my head in the clouds and I didn't have my feet on the ground. I was not serious about life. I was wasting my life. So I confronted all that and fought through that, with the result that I came to India and I never went back home after that. My parents have never seen me on stage or seen any work that I have done as a director or designer, which is rather sad. But then many actors have sad stories about their relationship with their parents in being determined to do what they have to do.
Thank you.
That's the end.
Well, the next question is from Ishita. Ishita, would you like to ask this question?
Can I suggest that you ask if people are satisfied with my answer, or there is any other question that
Sure.
is.
Radhika, are you satisfied with the answer? Did you get your answer? But I think she's busy admitting the students and everybody else in the room.
She's written on the chat that she is.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
So, Ishita, are you asking the question or should I go ahead for you?
Yeah, I'll ask. Good morning, sir.
Good
Sir,
morning.
since you've seen the acting culture of both India and the UK, what do you think is the major difference between the both?
Oh gosh, it really doesn't compare, because I mean, right from Shakespeare's time, right from the 16th, 17th century, England has sort of acknowledged an important, this important art of performance, theater performances, as important as literature, as well as a profession. There have been professional actors in the UK since Shakespeare's time, and but in India, we're still far away from that possibility. I mean, young people engage with theater when they're young. They're very passionate about it. They enjoy it thoroughly, as we all do. But then, you know, there's no serious or professional career that you can enter into, like, you know, with other studies, like you can nowadays with computers and so on. Or engineering, or medicine, and so on and so forth. All the favorite professions that people take up, because they are guaranteed jobs after their education, and well-paid jobs. But theater is not like that. In theater in India is a real struggle, perpetual struggle for money, for acceptance, for well, for a fair deal, may I say.
Thank you, sir. I got it.
Yeah, okay. Sad story, but there it is.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Arshdeep. Arshdeep, would you like to ask this question? I'll ask the question then. He asks, sir, as an actor on stage, should we have an eye contact with the audience, or should we set our eyes to a certain point and speak?
Wow, that's a real technical one, isn't it? Well, it depends on the play. There are some plays where you are actually talking directly to the audience. Then, of course, you will look at them. But in most of the plays, when the curtain rises, you enter into another world. You enter whatever that may be. If it's a family drama, to a particular kind of house and set and furniture and the relationships within that family, or it could be a more social drama. The scene could be a street scene, and so on and so forth. But in that kind of a play, which we would call realistic, alternatively, the space between you and the audience is what we call the fourth wall. And it's not that you can't ever look in that direction, but you certainly are not expected to look at the audience and speak to the audience. You're involved in the world that is on the stage, and the audience is on the other side of that fourth wall that you can't penetrate as an actor. So, I mean, that's the general rule that goes with acting. Some plays you can look at the audience and speak directly to the audience, but most plays you are meant to be within the bounds of the stage. And like I said, the audience is outside of a wall that you can't see. Literally, you can't see it. Often with strong stage lighting these days, and the audience is in the dark. So it's difficult to look at the audience anyway, except for the first few rows in an audience. Himani Madan, is she getting angry? I'm only getting names up on the screen. Ah, there we are.
Looks like it. Maybe she's practicing some voice things.
Oh my goodness. To impress me or what?
Yeah, maybe. Are you impressed?
Not with that. That was a horrible noise that came through just now.
Ooh, then she should stop maybe.
But it could be the technology.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Yeah, Lavisa.
So Arshdeep, did that answer your question? He says, thank you, sir, in the chat box.
So he's, okay.
Yeah, I think.
Seems satisfied.
Yes. Next question is from Shivam. Shivam, would you like to ask this question?
Yeah, sure, Lavisa. Good morning, Barry, sir.
Hi,
Sir,
good morning.
Sir, I just want to ask, there are many techniques to get into the character while you are acting in theater or film acting. Getting into the character is a thing. We have many techniques, people teaches you about it. But how to get out of the character? Because sometimes it happens, like when you are getting through a dark character, it start reflecting your real self in the society, and that becomes a problem. So how to ignore the effects that carries out in your real being after acting a particular character?
Well, you have to separate the two worlds. There is you and your world, your life, and there is that of the character when you enter the rehearsal space or the performance space. You leave yourself behind and you become the character that's required to tell the story in the play or film. So it's a very important question. Yeah, some people think that, the best actors are those who are like 110% involved in their character. And certainly you can in your preparation, you can put yourself into unusual circumstances and situations where you're trying to understand or experience what the character has to experience. Now, if you're a down and out character, for example, that a street character who actually lives on the street, you may want to spend some nights actually sleeping out on the street to experience what that is like and what that character lives through. Maybe being hounded by the police or being whatever. And in that way, of course, it's dangerous. You're not dealing with the fiction. You're putting yourself into a situation where you're dealing with reality as it exists out there. But then it's worth it because that's the education you need to perform your character to the best that you can. But it doesn't mean you have to live on the streets forever and ever for the rest of your life. You've got to learn to say, the rehearsal is over, switch off, maybe through some meditation, or just compose yourself, or dance. Sometimes you dance, you can shake it, literally shake that dark character out of yourself, and until you become yourself once again, and you go home and live your life. You've got to separate the two in order to be psychologically healthy. If you get too carried away with your character, then it can be disturbing, and you can have problems, mental problems, psychological problems, which are not, like I said, that's not healthy. That's not a space you want to be in. The aim is to be professional. It's just a job. Your job is to be the actor that you are, to live your life with your family and so on and so forth, your friends. When you go to work, you go into this character. I hope that's some answer.
Yes, sir, completely. Thank you.
Welcome.
The next question we have from Padmanabha. Padmanabha, would you like to ask the question?
Yeah, surely, Lalisa. Thank you. I'm sorry if it is just a second. Can I ask it? Can I ask it next question, because it is again?
Sure.
You've got some feedback problem there.
Yeah, he's having some connection issues, I suppose.
Yeah.
So next question is from Abhishek. Abhishek, would you like to ask this question, or should I read it out for you?
No, yes, I ask.
All right.
Okay. So good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Hello, sir. So, sir, I want to ask you that when will you get your first, how many problems did you face in your career? And when did you get your first opportunity?
You want a whole list. A list of problems that'll take the rest of the time that we have and beyond. My first opportunity came, like I said, before I knew it was an opportunity, before I knew what I was doing. I just enjoyed being in character, being on stage, wearing fancy costumes, and acting in this drama, to escape into another world. Don't ask me why, but my first opportunities came when I was very young and in school at that time. Thereafter, opportunities came when I went to a college of education to train as a teacher of drama. But even there, during that course, we did act, we performed a whole range of different plays as a part of our training. And gosh, there's no actual beginning. Where did it begin? I don't know. It's lost in time, goes way back. Are you dissatisfied with my answer, Abhishek?
Now he's saying yes.
He is dissatisfied.
He is
Sorry
saying
about
yes,
that.
he is satisfied.
He is satisfied. I can't please them all.
Padmanabha, are you ready for this?
Yes, I think now my connection is now stable. Okay.
Yeah, sounding much better.
Yes, sir. Sir, first of all, the Buddha backside on that table is really good. I like that Buddha. And coming to the question, sir, I asked this question to many of my teachers too. Like, I consider theater as a part of literature too. So Shivam asked about acting. So how the actor goes into acting and doesn't come out of it. So my question to you is with the writing part. So do you consider the writer and associate him with the written work, or you consider them separately? So what is your take on that?
Well, no, writers are very important. Nothing would exist without the writer creating it and creating this world in printed form for us all to share. But then if it is a play, if it is drama, then there is the need that it goes beyond being literature, just something you read, that you put life into it. And that's the purpose of drama, no? It's a live performing art. It's not just literature. it is literature, it's both these things. And certainly studying dramatic literature is something everyone importantly does, but to improve your education. But ultimately, a play is a play when it's performed, when it's in a performance space, and you see the characters and their actions in a live performance. Does that answer your question? I can't remember what your original question was.
Like, sir,
Padmanabha?
question, yes, sir. The question was like we associate the writers with their written work. So, like, if there is a writer, he writes something, so then we associate him with that written work. So, is it correct to again associate the writer with the written work, or should we consider them separately? The written work and the writer are two separate entities. So, should we consider like that, or both are same? According to you?
Can you? Yeah, of course. One comes out of the other. You can't separate them, no? The writer has given birth to that piece of literature. So, and it's very much his point of view, his words, his ideas, his view of the world is all contained in that. And you can't separate them. In fact, one of the biggest problems we have as actors is to understand the text. Some texts are quite superficial and quite light and easy to comprehend. There's no depth to them. There's no question of the possibility of various interpretations. But with a good text, I mean, there is that question. You're always asking yourself, what does this mean? What did the playwright intend? What's the purpose? Why is this scene in the play or in the film? The actor has to ask these questions and know the answers, provide answers. What's the purpose? What's the reason for this film, this scene being in this film or play? There has to be a reason, because a playwright, a screenplay writer, they have very limited time. They can't waste time on scenes which are non-important or just superficial and throwaway scenes, as it were. Well, if they are throwaway scenes, they throw them away and they delete them. So,
Hello, very good.
so the script is very tight and has the audience riveted when they're reading it or watching it. That's
Thank you,
the
sir.
kind. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. That answers my question.
Thank you, sir. Next question we have from Harshal. Harshal, would you like to ask your question?
Sir,
That I'm audible.
Yes.
Harshal, yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So this is from a personal observation and through some articles and interviews that I've seen.
Huh.
So UK has always had some sort of a proud and a notion towards their art that they think not being some sort of superior, but being prestigious in their own. The first question being said, so do you, what are your stands on this argument being there? And do you think the sense of globalization in terms of arts and arts mixture towards US and UK being together, like actors like Emily Blunt and Timothy Chalamet being the top actors in US as well now, do you think it has affected some sort of that prestigious art of UK?
Yeah, I think there is an imbalance there, definitely. And that is because of the English language being so dominant in the world as it has come. Of course, it's an imperialistic, has imperialistic roots, sadly, but they can't be ignored. You know, most of the world communicates through English. So it's obvious, and one can include Australia in this, Australian, English, and American films tend to rule the roost. But that's not to say that they are the best. Every country, every culture has its own performing styles, and in their own language, of course. I mean, so there are, in terms of world cinema, as we call it now, there are so many fascinating films made in other parts of the world, in other languages. Last year's what do you call it? The, Oscar was a Korean film, for example. Of course, that's the best foreign language film.
Parasite.
Pardon?
So Parasite by Bong
Parasite.
Joon-ho.
Yeah. Unfortunately, India has not been in the running for an Oscar, which upsets a lot of people, I know, but then how to explain that, I don't know. But the opportunity is there. Any country in the world, and there are so many, a poor country like Brazil has made some fantastic films, world famous films, and performances have come from Brazil. If one could say the best films come out of very troubled circumstances. Any country which is happy and well developed, their stories will be equally bland. They don't have the problems that developing societies seem to have, and so their films, their literature is not as vibrant as these countries develop. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does make sense.
Yeah.
But sir, what are your stance on the people in UK have sense of proud of towards their accent? And
Yeah,
towards
the British are very arrogant. That's one reason I left the country happily. I've been in India for the last 50, 60 years, so don't ask me about the UK. I don't know.
Okay.
I have an Indian passport.
Yes, sir.
I'm as desi as I possibly can be, as a Firangi in India.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that answer.
Welcome.
All right, sir. The next question is from Anjasnu. Would you like to ask this question yourself, or should I read it for you? They're asking how to get rid of stage fear.
Oh my goodness. Well, to keep at it, to do more and more until your fear is based on what? Maybe you ask, that's where it begins. You ask yourself, what the hell am I afraid of? When so many people act on stage and so confidently, what's my problem? What's my hang up? Why? What am I afraid of? What's holding me back or making me nervous? Because if you are nervous, it means you're concentrating on that rather than concentrating on your role, your character, and what you have to do on stage. Then there's no room for being afraid or in any way self-conscious. You're immersed in your character and in, the mother of all skills, this is what I teach, the mother of all skills is concentration. If you're concentrating on your role and your dialogues and the other characters in the story, there's no room for fear. Unless the character has to be fearful. But you don't want to play fearful characters for the rest of your life. I hope.
Does that answer your question, Anjasnu?
I think that answers the question of a lot of
you're
people.
too afraid to answer.
No, but I think that's a question that this answers a lot of questions. A lot of people are afraid to speak or forget stage.
Yeah,
get up and speak.
Yeah.
Even in a classroom, when they are expected to get up and speak, there is this nervousness.
It's a reflection on our education, on our upbringing. Like I said earlier, children are seen but not heard is, the general style of things. So, and in our education, like I said, being a drama teacher, other teachers hate the fact that I create so much noise. I have students speaking up for themselves, we do voice exercises, but it's no use having a good voice if you've got nothing to say. You must know your own mind about anything and everything that's going on in the world as an actor, and not be afraid to say what you think. What is your point of view? Most actors are quite, maybe some actors even speak too much. Their opinions on what's going on in the world. But nonetheless, yeah, exactly that. You've got to overcome that whole trend of thinking that what you think and what you can say is not important. It is. You're as important as everyone else, at least in a democracy. And we are in a democracy, thank God, where you can raise your voice, you speak your mind and say what you think.
That is true, because I think everybody should have a voice. Everybody should be able to put forward their opinions.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So the next question is from Shadman Sohail. Would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, sure. I am asking. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, Barry sir. Good evening. Sorry, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. You're ahead of time, are you?
Yeah. So, sir, my question is, we want to act, but we don't want to show that we are acting. So how to improve this?
Good question. I think, well, it's just a matter, again, of practice and practice and practice that you do. The more you do, the more you will come closer to the business, like I said, of being, I mentioned the fact that the mother of all acting skills is concentration. Your concentration is fully on the character, the way the character speaks, the way the character moves, what the character has to say, how the character reacts to what other people are saying and doing. So through all that, there's no space for not being in role. I mean, you can't afford to be yourself. You know that's not the purpose. Every role you play is not you. It's the character. It's different from you. The character is different. Until you are a very great person, the play will not be about you. The play is about someone else. And you have the responsibility of characterizing that someone else and making us believe that you are the person that you are meant to be, which is not you. It's a character. You're in role when you're performing.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, and of course the challenge is to make that real. You should not look artificial. You should not look uncomfortable in your role in what you're doing. You have to be believable. What you do and say has to be truthful to that character. So yeah, it's like I said, maybe a lot of plays that I've seen, they're uncooked. They've not spent enough time in developing or evolving. I think evolutionary references are more precise about what happens in the process of reading a play and then rehearsing a play. It takes a long time. It's a whole process of getting closer, giving it more believability, more honesty, more truthfulness about that world that the play is about.
Yeah, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So the next question is from Aditya Verma. Aditya, would you like to ask this question? I think I'll go ahead then. He is asking, what makes the theater really stand out from different types of performing arts, since the other forms are just like theater, largely based on the premise of storytelling, but through different art styles?
Yeah, I mean, I've not done a survey. I don't know which is more popular between out of theater and then dance, music, singing, opera, and so on and so forth. Each of them is, and there are different, when I say dance, what dance do I mean? Am I talking about folk dancing or classical dancing? There are so many different, especially in India, which I think collectively they may be even more important, more popular than theater, actually. Music and classical dance in India is very strong still. They have a lot of audience, more so perhaps than theater. So I don't know how to answer that question, actually. Each of them have their right to exist. And dance now incorporates modern dance. You know, there are so many dance keeps evolving. All the arts keep evolving, keep changing with time. And, maybe at different times in history, certain forms have been more popular than others. I don't know. I've not really done that comparative study of all the arts. But that's my thoughts on it.
Thank you, sir, for answering that. Next question we have from Darshan Jain. Would you like to ask your question, Darshan?
Hey, yeah. Good afternoon, Barry sir.
Hi, Darshan.
So my question was, would it be, I wanted to actually pursue a formal education in acting. So would it be better if I actually went to other places apart from India, like London, New York, or LA? Because I see that acting is, as a profession, is taken more seriously there. And also my question was, would it have more room to find work, because India has such massive population, and then there's various politics that is involved. So what is your take on this?
Wow, that's a very long, complex question. I'm not sure I'm qualified to answer all of it, especially in terms of, is it wise to go abroad to study? Many people have, and they keep doing it all the time, but they don't necessarily come back as better actors than people who have stayed in India and struggled, with all that there is to struggle in India. And that's a lot. Yeah, even to choose, where do you train in India? Who do you train with? But that will be left to your own intelligence, your own, what do you say, your own study or research around which schools are doing which kind of work, who is the director, who is the principal teacher, and what qualities do they have? A good reputation, or are they just passing time and exploiting you for your money? All these things happen, and even in the West. The problem is, going in the West, when you come to studying a play, it will be a Western play. If you go to London, you'll be studying English dramas, English scripts. And if you go to New York, you'll be studying American scripts. And which is, I've not heard of any Indian apart from, what's his name, Patel, but then he was born in the UK. He has not gone from India. What's his name? Patel, who's acted in quite a number of films.
Dev Patel.
Dev Patel, correct. From Slumdog Millionaire onwards. But yeah, like I said, he's more British than Indian, actually. So for someone to go from India, it will be, there are challenges, both in living there. It's very expensive, of course, compared to India. And I'm not sure the education you get is satisfying for all that you need as an actor. And it might be better to consider, as difficult it is, as it is a struggle, but it may be better to confront, if you want to act as an Indian actor, then you confront the situation here rather than escape abroad. Ultimately, you'll have to come back and face it, which will be more difficult then, because the situation and stuff that pertains to the West does not pertain here in India. It's very different.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Thank you, sir, for answering the question. Next question we have from Ankur. Ankur, would you like to ask a question? Well, okay, he is asking, sir, why we act? What is the inner motive every actor have? Or what is the responsibility of an actor in a society?
Say that again, please.
Why
do
we
we
act?
Yeah.
What is the inner motive every actor has? What is the responsibility of an actor in a society?
Wow. Why do we act? That's a puzzle. We're the only animal in the world that acts. I mean, that has made it into something, a unique, special thing that we do. Other animals do act to a certain extent, especially during the mating season. They're known to perform all kinds of, the birds especially, and other animals, they perform all kinds of dances and rituals. But it's not like acting as a profession that human beings know. God knows why Homo sapiens has been appointed the distinction of developing its brain and developing all the civilization that we have and all our arts and sciences and so on and so forth. But that's the fact. Sorry, what was the rest of the question? You've forgotten.
Role of the artist in the society.
Or then coming to the role of the artist. Yeah. I wish I could speak to the guy directly. Anyway, Zoom is not all that it's made out to be, is it? We know that. I can't speak for everyone. Every actor will find their own reasons that they do what they do and how it satisfies them, or what challenges they wish to confront. As with everything else in life, different people have different reasons for being who they are and their relationship with their work. I'm sure you find that with teachers also.
I suppose he does.
A sage nod. And students, how many different students have different reasons to be in college. Some are acceptable, others seem questionable, but there they are. They're all students, they're labeled students, whatever their reasons or their objectives in life. But well, the role of students is to study, to learn, to get into a particular career or profession, and then serve your society to the utmost that you can. It's the same with performing artists too, with actors. Eventually you feel you have a responsibility. Of course, it gets lost. It depends who the actor is. Some people think acting is just about making people laugh, or it's just about developing a name and a following, a fan club for yourself. You know, you want to be a celebrity, you want to be famous. But others, there are others who think there is a responsibility that you owe to society, which is to be a mirror to that society, as Shakespeare put it, to show people the reality of what they are and what they're doing. And whether you're focusing on the characters or the social situation that you're representing or you're a part of, there's an enormous responsibility. Especially if it's something about crime, or it's about the situation of women. The story may be about a rape or an abusive person. You've got to treat that as something very serious, very important that you're doing. And therefore to be as honest and credible as you can in order to affect people. And ultimately, in some way, no play or film, I think, has ever changed society. No politician has ever done that, actually, unless you're an absolute ruthless dictator, which I wouldn't like to talk about. And even they do exist in the world, even now, today. But, and of course, in those countries, acting is not allowed. There's no theater. You can't criticize the government. You can't criticize anything. The world is perfect in those countries. And you thank your leader for doing all the good things that he does. I shouldn't get stuck into this, but yeah, you have a responsibility. You want to represent not just social problems, but I mean, nobody lives just a life of problems. There are highs, there are lows, there are happy times, sad times, tragic times. So a good film, a good play reflects all of that on a very serious issue, because you want to be useful to society. You want to have audiences watch you and think about what you're doing and be and give them food for thought. Even if you don't change their life suddenly, you're giving them a lot to think about and to reason about, and maybe eventually they change their behavior. Who knows?
Yeah, thank you. A related question. I was just thinking, Barry, the idea of motive behind acting. So you're talking about what would make one to make you a teacher or a student. The motive, but would motive necessarily make a good actor? The acting part of it. If I have noble motives for wanting to become an actor, would that necessarily transform into my being a great actor?
No, there's no magic. There's no goalie you can take which will ensure that happens. Unfortunately, life is not like that. And the most unexpected people become popular and make a name for themselves as actors. And there are others who are brilliant in their own way. They just never have that opportunity. The opportunities are not limitless. There's always, Bollywood, as large as it is, making hundreds of films every year, there's a limit to the number of people that can be accommodated in Mumbai, in the industry as such. So many people that aspire to be good actors may never become professional actors because they're so good, they're so true to their belief and their a professional ethic that they're not commercial. They don't make it. So then they go home and do something else.
So sadly, we've not seen the best of actors, that means.
No. The better actors are not there up on the screen. They're somewhere else.
Oh, wow.
Just think about that. Yeah.
I'm just amazed with that. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is from Raj. And Raj, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, definitely. Good morning, sir.
Hi, Raj. Good morning.
Hi, sir. So in one of the questions, you were telling about how an actor should try to completely become the character, right? But some of the actors also talk about exposing their own personal vulnerabilities. So is it not they trying to be themselves or trying to express themselves through that character? Is it wrong?
Yeah, no, well, I think so. I think if conveniently, I mean, this is what distinguishes stars from good actors. Stars are not necessarily good actors, but they have a look, they have a style, a way of acting which becomes very popular, and then they turn out to be the same character in every damn film that they do. Virtually, they don't change. Whereas the challenge for a good actor is, as we know, to transform yourself. Like I said to somebody earlier, the film is not about you. So whatever aspects of yourself you're aiming to project in the role, that's not being true to the role. That's being true to you. You're publicizing yourself rather than the character, which I don't agree with. There may be certain aspects of your life which run parallel. You've had experiences in those same areas, but still that's something you can draw on to feed into your performance. But that doesn't mean it's about you.
Yes, sir.
That's a mistake, I think.
Yes, sir. Sir, and in addition to that question, my question is, how can we coordinate with the actors in order to get their optimum performance? Like if someone is directing them on the stage.
Yeah.
So how we can coordinate with the actors? I mean,
Well,
what to expect from them?
I think the first reason to appreciate, some directors are very loud and very rude and very authoritative, authoritarian. They take the role of director as, I mean, as something, well, no, I won't say it. But a good director takes time, is friendly with the actors and nurtures them with the understanding that what they have to do is very difficult. I can't explain how difficult it is to be on camera, especially in close-up shots, where you have such a responsibility to do what the director wants you to do, and be true to yourself, also true to your abilities. And from a technical point of view, you do what even the cameraman may ask you to do certain things, give certain looks in particular directions. There are all these technicalities which come into it. It's the director's job to be warm and understanding and persuasive about, not demanding, not say, "Hey, you idiot, why are you doing that?" It's like good teaching, actually. A good teacher is nurturing, There's a way to treat students with respect and encourage them to do the best that they can without demanding it, without forcing it. So I think the best of directors work like that. What they say to an actor, for example, during a shoot, they don't say it loudly. They will have the decency to go up to the actor or draw him to one side and speak quietly, whisper to him about what the problem is or what they want them to do without publicly shaming the actor. Stuff like that. I've faced all these kinds of different directors. So one knows that it's that director who is understanding, who is sympathetic to the difficulty of your task as an actor, and is encouraging rather than being violent and discouraging.
Yes, sir, I got your point. Thank you.
Got it? Yeah.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Thank you, sir, for answering the question. Next question we have from Shilpi ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to question yourself, or should I read it for you?
Shilpa, her name is up there, but she's on silent mode at the moment.
You're on mute, yes.
On mute. Shilpa, can you unmute yourself?
Or maybe Lavisa, you can go ahead. If you can read the question, maybe there is some technical.
Sure. I'll read it for her. She's asking, can one truly learn how to act, or does one need an inborn talent for it, or a little of both?
No. Well, maybe, yeah. Nobody's born with that kind of a talent, which is required for today's actor. Today's actor can work in theater, can work on film. Between these different media, they express themselves and share their talent. So, but it's not enough. You may have certain gifts that you're born with, but they have to be worked upon. They have to be honed and developed. I know lots of people who have a sense of humor, who are the heart and soul of any party. They regale people, get the rest of the group laughing. And when it comes to acting, they are absolutely stuck. It doesn't work when they have to learn particular lines and play a particular. They're good when they can be themselves, actors themselves at a party. But when they have to be in role, they have to learn dialogues and speak only those dialogues and not just improvise, then they get into difficulties. Siddharth.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So next question we have from Kalika. Kalika, would you like to ask your question or should I read it out for you? I'll read it out. Is it possible to judge yourself as an actor, especially when you're not trained?
No, unfortunately. That's why the directors exist and why teachers of acting exist. You always need somebody on the outside looking in at what you can't see yourself, right? When you're acting, when you're involved with your character and doing what you have, you can't see yourself. So the director acts as that mirror. He's watching you all the time and tells you what is reflected in your work. And it may be suitable, it may be unsuitable. So that's the director's job, to tell you what's working and what is not working. You yourself don't know. You can't know because you can't see yourself. And you can't work with the mirror. I just said you can't see yourself. You could have a mirror, like dancers have mirrors for particular reasons. But actors, actors can't work in front of a mirror. You'll be obsessed with yourself and you're not looking at the person you should be looking at, your fellow actors, or doing what you need to be doing. So that's what a director does. You need a director. You can't know yourself precisely what you're doing and whether it works or not.
Thank you, sir, for answering that. I think in response to Shilpi ma'am's question, Himani is asking what actually is a natural actor?
I don't know. Never met one.
All right, then. Next question is from Deeksha Gar. Deeksha, would you like to ask your question or should I read it out for you?
Sure. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my question is, do you recommend an actor goes behind the scenes at least once to get a better hold of the craft, like behind the camera, backstage, basically?
Oh, yes. It's always improves, enlarges your education. If you have worked backstage, you've been in the wings, watched performances from the wings, or been out front as an assistant director or something. And then certainly on film, film is a huge, any film is a huge project with many departments. So, and to understand, an actor must understand what are the director and the director's assistants doing? What's their responsibility? What's the responsibility of the camera and the assistant camera people? What's the responsibility of the sound, those working on sound, and then lights and so on and so forth, the set decorators, the makeup artists, and so on and so forth. There are armies of people comparatively working in a film. And to learn things and see things from their point of view can only improve your education, make you more sympathetic and understanding about how they contribute. A film is a massive contributory project involving many people. And the acting is just one part of it, but probably the most important part, because the actors are what ends up on the film when it's finished. But their work would be improved if they had an understanding, like I said, and a sympathy with all the other aspects of the work.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, just to add to that, can you hear me?
Yes.
Just to add to that, your first job, after your training, may be to be just an assistant on a film project, rather than hope to be an actor. Get into the work, get an understanding of how things are made and what is expected of actors. Bhavesh? Who's Bhavesh?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. My name is Bhavya. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, sir, what are the must-do exercise for an actor on an everyday basis to hone his skills? Like many actors do many practitioners of acting do many exercises, but what are the exercises to hone his skills in terms of acting?
Gosh, there are too many. I can't possibly on this platform give you a list of all the different kinds of exercises that there are. Some are physical, some are vocal, some are mental. I mean, developing your mental capacities, your concentration, and so on. Some are emotional. There's the exercises to get through to feel complete as an actor, that you're in control of all your assets.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So next question we have from Anupama ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, sure. Hello, Barry.
Hi, Anupama.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Like, do you think acting to be something therapeutic?
Yes, it can be. I think so. I think it's good for everybody. That's why we have, some of us at least have pushed and pushed for drama and theater studies to be there at school level. Whether you want to be an actor or not, the things we do as actors in order to educate ourselves, to develop ourselves physically and vocally, as that whole list I've just given, is good for anybody and everybody.
So like they say, like
even for those,
it's like relieving of your emotions. Sorry.
I was going to add, even for those who are need special education, those who have, you know, I mean, I've worked with all kinds of people, visually impaired, speech impaired. I can't list them. I've forgotten the terms, which they are labeled differently abled people of all descriptions. So, and it has a great role to play in their development and education.
So basically personality, kind of a development in your personality.
Ultimately, yes, it's reflected in your personality, but
yes,
it's not just personality development.
It's not just, yeah, it's like relieving your emotions.
Yeah, but there's a way to do that, which is through the body, through dance, through mind,
Absolutely.
through speech exercises, singing, the whole jing bang. You know, it has an impact on people, definitely.
Yeah. So another question that I had was, do you think the cinematic representation of a novel or a play does justice to the text?
It can even improve it. I mean, it could make it more accessible and more impactful.
Okay.
But depending on the literature, I don't think, no film has done justice to a Dostoevsky novel or a Charles Dickens novel or a Shakespeare play even, because they're just too big, they're too epic and wide-ranging to encapsulate in a film. Maybe in a web series that now has become so popular, it might be possible.
Possible, yes.
Yeah, because you got more time.
So just one more question.
You're being greedy. Are you a student or a teacher?
I'm a teacher.
Ah, please go ahead.
So, the thing is, like, commenting upon the whole world being a stage, don't you think we are also indulging in acting in our everyday lives?
Of course, of course. Some more than others, of course, but especially the extrovert people amongst us are very conscious about being actors and getting what they want in life through their performances, deceiving people. Some people believe that if you can lie, you can act.
You can act.
Anupam Kher believes this, apparently. I personally don't, but to my mind, acting is about being truthful, not about lying.
Absolutely.
So, but there it is. Everybody's got their own opinions on these things.
Yes. Thanks a lot. That
Not at all.
answers my
Most welcome.
questions.
Thank you, Anupama.
Thank you.
Sir, shall we take more questions? It's 12:43.
You tell me. It's your session. Yeah, 1 hour is gone 15 minutes ago. If there are more questions, yeah, we could take a few more.
I think we'll have to decide on a number, Barry. There are so many more questions and we don't want to exhaust you. So if you could just say 2 more, we'll just stick to 2 more.
Or let's have another session sometime.
Yes, I think we should. And soon, because all of these questions are with
while
us.
it's fresh and people are keen.
Yes, we should do that. So should we then close it for today and have another session, or would you like to take another question?
That's my suggestion. It's up to you.
No, we'll be happy to have another session. And I think we can then, Lavisa, what do you say? Is there a question that you think needs to be absolutely asked right now?
Ma'am, there are questions such as what are your views on characterization, and a few questions from Shivam, and there's a question from Ashdeep again.
There's one I can see which says, when is the next acting class starting? Because that seems like an urgent question. I think that needs to be starting tomorrow. We need to know that today. But other than that, I think the rest could wait.
No, on the 15th of this month.
Wow.
And a 3-month course is beginning. But that's in Mumbai, not in Delhi.
Well, people are ready to go to London and LA. I'm sure Mumbai is not far.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I can see. That seems like an urgent question. Anything, Lavisa, that you can see, or Barry himself maybe, or Shalini is here, I'm sure.
Lavisa, do you have a question? You've been posing other people's questions. Do you have one from yourself?
The first question I asked was initially my question. I actually wanted to know about the journey because, when people start out their journey, they are very hesitant. They do not know what the future holds. So that is why I wanted to know that if you're stepping out of your house, trying to do something that usually people do not do, you must have a backup plan, or you must have this driving force that no matter what, I will have to pursue this. I must pursue this. That is why I wanted to know about your journey.
Yeah. Now, your backup plan is always wise. I tell students myself that because in this country, the opportunities are few and far between. Difficult to make a career out of it. You can continue acting, but to earn your bread, to pay your rent, you need some other kind of work usually, which is more reliable. And sad to say, but there it is.
So thank you, sir, for answering all our questions. We're highly
My pleasure.
grateful.
I enjoy it. Thank you. Thank you for your questions.
So we've learned so much today. Now I request President, English Association, Padmanabha Reddy, to propose a vote of thanks. Over to you, Padmanabha.
Thank you, Lavisa. So, good afternoon, everyone, to one and all present here. Our honorable speaker, Barry John sir, our convener, Kuntal ma'am, respected teachers, and all the participants. It is such an honor for me to get the opportunity to thank you all for attending our session. On behalf of English Association, Motilal Nehru College, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed members of this session for their presence and contribution in making this webinar a great success. I extend my gratitude to our honorable speaker, Barry John sir, to take out time from his busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you for inspiring and encouraging us with your words on this special day, sir. A special thanks to Shalini ma'am for providing immense support to make this session successful. I also thank my colleague Shivam Bharadwaj for helping us out to contact and organize this session with Barry John sir. I extend my gratitude to Kuntal ma'am, convener of the English Association, to help organize this session amidst all the online hurdles. I must thank the whole executive team for working hard for the past few days to make this session successful, especially Lavisa for conducting today's program. Without you guys, this would not have been possible. Thank you everyone once again for joining us today and making this a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Padmanabha.
Well done, Padmanabha. I didn't know you were such an important person in the society or in the English department.
Yeah, that's why
Well
we
done.
ensured that we mentioned that he's the president and Lavisa is our secretary.
Very important.
Very important.
VIP. He's a VIP.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Barry, and thank you so much everyone else who's joined us today on this session. There's so many important things that are still left, so many questions that we still needed to ask you. I was very interested
Next time.
Yes,
Next
definitely. You know, your role in theater in education is so crucial, and I would have, like to hear about that. And in therapy, you worked so much in these areas, and we are really grateful, not just for the time you've given us today, but for all the work that you've done in the past so many years in the world of theater, in the world of education. You're truly inspiring, and thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for saying that.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll meet again soon.
Right. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.